leftover stuff if they don't clean the place properly. The other thing you want to look for when you do physical is, well, I guess that would be physical. Oh, the pH. I guess that can be physical. You can't see the pH now. That will be chemical. All right, so those are some of the things that you can see up front. And the other thing is the volume, how much you're putting out. Is it a lot? Is it a little bit? And what does it mean? Now again, it can be nothing. You just didn't drink enough water. You put out a tiny bit. Remember, the job of the one of the job of the urinary system is to regulate your fluid balance. So if the body, if it thinks you don't have enough fluid, it's not going to put out any. It will try to retain as much of it as possible. So if you don't go to the bathroom, or if you did go and you have this teeny bit, it's because the kidney is trying to regulate what fluid you have. Or you've been drinking lots of water and you keep going, because again, it will not allow you to keep excessive fluid, because that poses a threat to the cells. So that volume is tells you something. It could be something more important. Again, kidney problems, you're not putting out enough urine. Blood pressure issues, not putting out enough urine, because blood pressure, you tend to hold on to the sodium. Sodium pulls the water, and you hang on to it, so you put out much less urine. Those kind of things. All right, the next kind of test you can do, which we are going to do, is the chemical test. And for that, we are using the chemistry. And this takes all of 2 minutes. So none of these take very long. Your lab today should be pretty short. The chem strip, or chemical strip, is based on, I noticed, based on some of the things I've been reading, you know about antigen-antibody reactions. This is kind of one of those tests where you have an antibody of some kind, and then the antigen will bind to it to give you a precipitate or a color change. Is that kind of reaction. They call it a dipstick because you literally have a stick that you dip in the urine, and it has some, again, infused antibodies. And what it's going to react with is the proteins, the antigens. Antigens are protein. They're going to react with them to give you color changes. Then on the box or the cylinder, they have the key. And you just have to match up your stick with the key and then record your findings. That's what your result page is for. Now, the only thing I need to draw to your attention is that when you do this, you have to follow the instruction that says strip handle. And I guess they figured out quickly that some people are turning it this way and telling me that they're dying from all sorts of things. So just remember to read it the right way up. And then record your findings. Now this one is ChemStrip 10. We've had ChemStrip 9, 11, and 12. The difference between them is how long you have to wait before you read your findings. This one gives you 60 seconds. The longest on here you have to wait for 120 seconds. That's the leukocyte. So you have to wait for 2 minutes before you read that. On this ChemStrip 9, I think it was 30 seconds. And the ChemStrip 11 and 12, you need 45 seconds. So it's just timing. The principle is the same. So if you run into it somewhere else, it's no different. It's the same thing. On this, you have several findings. You have specific gravity, leukocytes, pH, nitrite, protein, glucose, ketones, urobilinogen, bilirubin, and hemoglobin. Oh, and blood. Those last four, 1, 2, 3, 4. Blood, urobilinogen, bilirubin, and hemoglobin are all blood products, and that again could not be a good sign. It's either going to be some kind of infection, some kind of cancer issue, some kind of nephritis, some kind of kidney problem, some kind of, well, the only benign thing is again contamination from the vagina for the period if a female is having the period. That's just, nothing is going on serious there. Specific gravity measures how much solute is in the urine, in other words, how concentrated the urine is, and that can mean something. Somebody with specific, and there's a bit in here about specific gravity. Somebody with high specific gravity could be, again, not a big deal, they just didn't drink enough water, and so the urine is very concentrated. But somebody with diabetes, for example, would have a very high specific gravity because there's a lot of sugar in the urine, and that would raise it. Your specific gravity is measured against water. Water is 1.000, meaning there's nothing in water. So specific gravity is going to be, specific gravity of the urine is going to be something higher than that, because of course urine is not always just plain water. The range, the normal range, and again, we always have normal versus abnormal. Normal range is 1.010 to 1.030. This is the one you see in your current books, in your lab books, you take any recent book. The old one that Bill has is 1.015, 1.025. So these are a bit smaller on this end, higher on this end. But the new big numbers to watch are the top ones. Okay, so if you're going outside of the range, if you are over 30, especially pretty high over 30, that's got to be a concern to whoever is looking at your reading, your findings. Proteins in the urine will cause a very high specific gravity. Anything, you could have epithelial cells, so again, it may not be anything dramatic, but you never know, you're just gonna have to go one step further to find out why it's so high. So there's two ways to get specific gravity. You're gonna use a dipstick, but your third exercise is where you use a urometer. So I'll show you how to do that one in a minute. On the low end of specific gravity, again, it could mean that you just drink a lot of water, or it could be something as serious as diabetes insipidus.
So diabetes for high and low specific?
Two different types of diabetes.
Okay.
Diabetes insipidus doesn't have anything to do with sugar. Doesn't have anything to do with glucose. It has to do with ADH, antidiuretic hormone. If you're hypo, what does that mean? Hypo-secreting it.
You're not
Slow.
secreting.
It's
Not
low.
making enough. So if your levels of ADH is low, then what does it mean in terms of your fluid?
It's low.
All right, start again.
No, it's high.
Your fluid. What does what does the antidiuretic hormone do for us?
It holds.
It holds on to your water, right? Antidiuretic against diuretic. So its job is to, it's a vasoconstrictor, so it narrows the vessels, elevate resistance and blood pressure that way. But it also hang on to your water, right? Increase blood volume, yes? So if you're underproducing it, if you're hyposecreting it, then what does it mean for your water? You're going to be expelling it, right? So, surprise, surprise, you keep going to the bathroom, and the fluid is going to have very low specific gravity, because as soon, every chance, it will go right through. That is not a good thing, because as you know, HDH controls blood pressure, yes? So right away, you can predict what? If you have diabetes insipidus, what can you predict without knowing anything else?
Low blood
You're going to
pressure.
have blood pressure issues, low blood pressure issues, yes. And not just you feel low blood pressure, I mean really seriously low blood pressure problems, which then affects what? Venous return, which then affects cardiac output. So you start to see how the problems can build around that. Diabetes mellitus is the other one that we were talking about. And this one does involve sugar, glucose, and that's when you have excessive glucose coming out in the urine. As a rule, you're not supposed to have glucose in the urine. This is what this is asking you, what your result means. Well, one of the things you know is that people with diabetes, they have these things handy, and they check their urine all the time. They're checking to see what the glucose finding is. And the reason why they're doing it, they want to see if, whether the medication or if things are working. Now, people who don't have diabetes, when they do this, they should get a fat zero for glucose. Why? Because when your blood gets filtered at the glomerulus, you're going to filter your glucose. It's going to go through. Only proteins and red blood cells and so on are caught. Everything else gets filtered. But when you get to the proximal convoluted tubule, you have these proteins that should facilitate the glucose and send it back to the peritubular capillaries. Those proteins are called transport maxima. And you have a limited number of them in the membrane of the peritubular capillary. So typically, the amount of glucose that makes its way to the peritubular capillary will have enough transport maximum to take it back. If, however, you are diabetic, it means you're going to have way more glucose than you normally should. And when the transport maximum is filled, whatever excess is going to come out in the urine. So it's like you have a bus waiting to collect the glucose. When all the seats are taken, the bus is gone, and whoever didn't get on the bus comes out in the urine. That's really how it works. And so if you're reading diabetes, if you're reading any kind of sugar in the urine, it's telling you that there is too much glucose in your blood. And again, you should have been able to process the glucose, and you shouldn't be seeing any in the urine. It could mean diabetes, but it could be brain damage as well. Now, you could figure out, or the clinician could figure out, if the person walks in and take the test, they probably don't have brain damage, right? Because they wouldn't be walking in to do the test. Why brain damage? Well, when you eat and your digestive system process and your glucose is available, about 50% of that glucose goes to your brain and to your nervous system for usage. The nervous system is a high metabolic system, needs a lot of ATP. So half of your glucose goes there. The next half is split between the other cells, and the cardiac cells are going to take another big chunk of that. So if there is brain damage, it means that those cells that normally would be using the glucose, right, they're not able to use it, so that excess glucose will show up. So that would be in a situation, they might see that reading where you have a trauma, somebody have a head trauma or something, and then they don't have any previous history of diabetes, so they may want to think, oh dear, why are we getting these numbers? So that's specific gravity. And then leukocytes, you're not supposed to have leukocytes in your urine. Leukocytes imply what? Leukocytes are what? White blood cell. White blood cell implies infection, fighting of some kind, yes. So if you have leukocytes and they have negative, they have trace, and they have plus and pluses. So depending on what you're reading, you should be getting negative. If you get any trace or anything, it might imply that there's some kind of infection going on. Sometimes UTIs are asymptomatic, so you don't even know you have it. Nitrites, that's another one there. Nitrite is a derivative of protein, and bacteria breaks down nitrate. What did I say? Yes, breaks down nitrate into nitrite. So nitrite is the reading on here. So it means two things. It means there's protein somewhere, and it means there is bacteria somewhere. So if you have an infection, surprise, your nitrite reading will be up as well. Protein is never a good thing, and just like glucose